Good morning, everybody. This is Morten from INKISH. As some of you already may know, IST UV Days is around the corner in June on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th in Nürtingen. And as part of our coverage at the show, we have actually sent out an email to all the exhibitors and asked if they wanted to talk to us before the show so you could learn a little bit about what to expect from the show. And the first one that signed up for it is Jens from a company called Kinyo. And that doesn't sound very German to me, Jens. So maybe we should say, okay, first and foremost, welcome here on INKISH, and
Thank you.
maybe tell us a little bit, who are you and what is your company?
Okay, long story short, as I always say, thank you for the opportunity to give a little introduction of our company and finally also about myself. And we agreed to stay with the first name, even if I'm a German, and so it makes our life much easier. Yeah, Kinyo or Kinyosha is a privately owned producer, manufacturer of printing blankets, and the company is located in Tokyo. The headquarters is in Minori, where the production is, production side and also R&D side is. So we are a Japanese producer, and we are happy to be in the market since in the European market since more than 20 years. I think this year we will celebrate, or next year we will celebrate our 25th anniversary.
Fantastic. And um, when we start writing to each other before doing the interview, um, we spoke about that maybe the media and the industry are not so good actually talking to people that do maybe some of the most important ingredients in the printing recipe, namely the consumable market, like the blankets. Why do you think it is like that?
I think when we talked about it in advance, I mentioned that it is not a bling bling or let's say very well accepted, or not accepted, very well accepted, but not a very well known or pushed segment. But we know that if you don't have the right tires on your car, you cannot win the race. Yeah.
Mm,
So, or if you don't have the right oil in your engine, you cannot get out the performance.
mm,
So it's relatively simple, and especially when we come to the IST UV days, and especially for the UV and LED segment. I think it was a very interesting development in the past with all the HUV and the LED segments. And we also have learned, and we also have developed and adjusted our products,
mm,
because blanket producers are always reacting, yeah, on some situations.
mm,
And so we have been able to let's say, bring products into the market which are able to overcome some challenges, not coming from the blanket,
mm.
but coming from that specific segment.
That makes sense. And of course, one of the things you mentioned to me before we turned on the recording was also that you emphasize that everything that you do is produced in one place to ensure that you have, let's say, the same quality worldwide. When you look at a blanket, I mean, there's a lot of suppliers of blankets, but is there, in your view, is there a lot of difference in quality on these different type of blankets, or is it other things that are important to the PSPs and converters?
Um, Let me be very humble, let's say. I don't want to speak that much about competition, because I can't. I only can talk about our own company. And so when you produce on one place, you have the same process, you have the same people, you have the same, let's say, reliability. And that is, I think, the most important point. And when we ask ourselves, or if I ask my sales team, what are our USPs, what are our unique selling points, and you can, I think, also ask our customers, it's reliability,
Mm,
it's a technical support, which is also very important,
mm,
and it's also the clear strategy that Kinyo will be privately owned also in the next years. Yeah,
mm,
so that is also a nice point to know.
So what you're saying, if I should read between lines, is that the and I'm not trying to talk anybody up or down. I'm just trying to understand the market, because I mean, if you are let's say you're a commercial printer and you want to buy blankets, you need that reliability, as you talk about, both from a technical side and from a supply side. But as there are many suppliers in the market, I was just wondering, what do you do specifically to stay that? I mean, besides the production side, what do you do
Yeah,
in order to make sure that you have that reliability in your supply chain, and how you have the relation with your customers?
a couple of points, probably, Morten. First of all, Kinyo produces the full range of products. That is an important point when you talk to a company which has newspapers, heatset, UV, whatever. Yeah. So Kinyo produces the entire range of products for all applications. That means also for metal deco printers, for example,
Mm-hmm.
we are very well known, and also two-piece scan printers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when you talk to a two-piece scan printer, you can see that yes, we know Kinyo, we use Kinyo. That is
Mm.
quite nice to know. So we are
Must be
in
super.
also, yeah, also in a so-called niche market.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is also giving us the opportunity to plan our strategy for the next years.
Mm.
Yes, we are living in an industry which is quite challenging. Yeah,
There's a
let's
lot of
be
challenges in the market, and that's why I'm
very,
trying
very
to
challenging.
understand where you position yourself, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
So when you speak about the segments, we talk about the commercial segment, which is relatively fragile. We know that, but we also talk about group accounts, and you mentioned also the competition. I don't want to speak about it too much, but also group accounts can be sure they get the same quality in the next years.
Mm.
They get the same reliable products in the next years, and they also have a partner
Mm.
to not only grow together in volume, but also in technology. Yeah,
Mm.
as I mentioned in the beginning, we do have, yeah, we are always reacting. Yeah,
Mm. Mm.
because a new ink, a new technology is coming out like LED, and we
Mm.
have to react. And then a very simple technical example is you have with LED sometimes the challenge you have ink backtrapping. That
Yeah.
means your yellow ink is getting dirty,
Mhm.
or you have a ghosting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and to find a product, let's say a blanket in that case, which is overcoming both of that challenges of
Mhm.
those challenges, is not easy. Yeah.
Mm.
So either you have the opportunity to kick out the ghosting, then
Mhm.
you have an increased ink backtrapping,
Mhm.
or vice versa.
Yeah.
And we have developed, and thank you to our Japanese R&D, we have developed lately a product which is called Atenea, and
Mhm.
that is overcoming both of the challenges.
Mm.
We are
I
working on
can't.
the symptoms. Yeah.
Mm. I can't help think about, because I can tell you that I've been working in printing companies before we started INKISH for many years, right? And I always wondered, because if you look at let's say, if you look at a printed product, salaries are high, capex investments are high, and when it comes to the product itself, it starts with the paper, the inks, and the blankets. But still, it's mostly the machines we talk about. This is despite that the let's say, as I said in the beginning, the consumables are so important. Um, I was just wondering, when you, for example, talk about your blankets in relation to UV, and you say that you're reactive to what happens technology-wise, but are you also, I mean, now we will meet each other at IST UV days, but are you also having close relations with the OEMs, where you are, let's say, proactive, where you're like, okay, we are developing a new lamp, or we are developing a new ink, or a manufacturer is doing a new type of cylinder, where we would like to work with you guys to get things really aligned? Is that also something that happens as part
Yeah.
of your work?
Yes. It's a very important part of our job, to be honest, because yeah, if you don't stick on the market, if you don't work together with OEMs, with the printing industry, with the printing press manufacturers, where can you find out your needs? Yeah,
Mm.
very, very clear. So, for example, what we do, we are working together with the 3, 4 big printing houses like Heidelberg, KBA, and Manager and Komori. Hopefully, I didn't forget any important point.
MTT.
But we are working. Yeah, I was just considering. So sorry, Mitsubishi Ryobi. I know we are also very close, but it is relatively simple. So they make benchmark tests when they have a new press or a new technology. They invite the printing blanket supplier to make a benchmark test.
Mm,
And so, thanks God that we are having a good R&D and a very proactive R&D. We are always able to meet requirements from the OEM. Sometimes it's not easy, yeah,
mm,
because we are just a little consumable supplier, but we are doing, I think, quite well, and we are listening to the market requirements and also
mm,
requirement from the OEMs. So if you
mm.
want to have some more examples, we can go a bit more in detail, but I think that would be too much for today.
For today. However, I have a question which is maybe a little bit more technical, just of curiosity, because I mean, when you look at the role of the blanket, which is tremendously important in an offset process, I was just wondering because I mean, I could imagine that the viscosity and the let's say the formulation of the ink is extremely important how the blanket operates, and is that why you have special blankets when we come to UV compared to conventional, because there is a difference in, let's say, the ink formula and how they react to all the pressures and all the, let's say, the balances that needs to be okay, or is there not a big difference between the blankets in these systems?
Oh yes, there is probably not that much difference between the blankets, but 2 points for that. So we have to know that between an NBR blanket for conventional printing and the EPDM blanket for UV printing
Mm-hmm.
is totally different from the surface, from the rubber component, not so much from the fabric and not so much from the compressibility. But it is not just saying, okay, it is only the surface of a blanket. It is a combination. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the fabric, which is important for stability and no elongation and things like that. And then you have the compressible layer, yeah, because you also have to look for the dot gain and things like that. And then you have the surface, which is more or less in charge for swelling and transferring the ink. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it is. It sounds like yeah, it's just a blanket,
Mm.
but
Yeah, it's a
it's a
complex
nice science,
technology.
to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a
And
nice science.
but does that give you, let's say, challenges? Because when you meet customers, let's say that you meet a new customer that has used a blanket from a competitor for some years, and now your salespeople meet that company and of course would like to try to convince them changing to you guys. Are the KPIs or the USPs, are they relatively easy when you explain the product, or is it something that the PSPs don't take so serious, or how do you think of that?
I think the most important point is to listen to the customer.
Yeah.
Yeah? I mean, we are in a technical world, and it is a process. Offset, especially offset printing, is a process where you have ink and water. Just considering that both are fighting to each other. Yeah, so we have to find some compromise, and it is always a compromise.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the situation with the customer, we are listening to the customer, and what we don't do. When I have started my little career, I've got a question, Jens, what is the best blanket for Holland 700 or for
Mhm.
Heidelberg XL or KBA 106? So now we have, or Komori, whatever. Yeah, what is the best blanket for that? And I said, okay, it's a Kinyo blanket. Oh no, why? I said a simple story is I cannot tell you this recommendation with or give you a recommendation without any knowledge what you are printing, what
Mhm.
is the temperature, what is the ink, what is this one, that one. So what we need to know is what do you want to achieve and what is your current situation. And then we give based on experience, we give our recommendation.
And that, of course, also leads a little bit back to what I asked before, because it seems that the consultancy role that you have from Kinyo is a very important part of the selling process,
Yes,
right? Yeah,
yes.
and that, of course, requires manpower. And how difficult is it to get skilled people working for your company? Is it as challenging as for everybody, or?
Yeah. Well, you mentioned a very, very important point.
Mm,
Um, I would love to get younger people on board. We just have hired a technical sales manager as a replacement for a gentleman who has been retired after with 64 years. I mean, it's a long time
wow,
in the industry,
yeah, that's a long
but
career.
you wouldn't believe you don't find so many people who are interested to work in that segment,
Mm,
to stay out of home for a while,
mm,
and to go on the press or whatever. So, but it's important to have those people, and it is also important to have a very good network.
mm,
So we have, of course, competitors, but we also have friends in the market, and
of course, yeah.
I think we can help each other.
Mm,
But you're right. I think all of us, doesn't matter if you are in the ink or in the paper, whatever, we are looking for younger generation skilled people. Yeah.
mm,
So, and I think that is a challenge for all of us.
mm. Jens, in June, as I said, we meet each other in Nürtingen, and you're not so far away from there. You told me, and IST UV days. We were also covering it 2 years ago, and I think it was, to be honest, I think it was a fantastic event, because
Yes.
it's nerdy but still very human,
It's
because it is
Nürtingen. It is
no
in
nerd.
Nürtingen. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nerding. Yeah, you can say that. Yeah, but I mean, I was thinking that 1,000 people is expected to come.
Yes.
It's a huge opportunity for the exhibitors to show and share some of the knowledge that you have. What can people expect to see when they come to your booth and talk to you guys about blankets and what you offer?
I think it's an interesting point what you mentioned, Morten. I think nobody would come only to the Kinyo booth, or nobody would come only to whatever. Yeah, I am not
It's a
sure if
combination, basically.
yeah, it's a combination. So we are
Yeah,
happy to. I was a little bit irritated because it shows me that the connection was not very well. Um,
yeah.
back
I think it's
to
okay now.
your question. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, okay. Back to your question is what can they expect? They can expect, let's say, a very uh, detailed um, analyze of their current situation regarding blankets. Yeah, so we can
mm,
talk about the issues. I made a little example with the
mhm,
with the ink backtrapping and with the ghosting, and that is still happened. Yeah, it's not gone.
mm,
Yeah, so
mm,
especially when we talk about some spot colors or whatever. So, and that is what they can expect. They also can
mm.
expect some answers on IML, in mode labeling
Interesting. Hmm. Hmm.
product. They can expect some answers on questions on their questions for LED,
Hmm.
specifically LED, UV, and so on and so forth. So I think we
Hmm.
are happy to invite all the people, most of them, to our booth, little booth, and so we are happy to hopefully give a solution on their
Hmm.
questions.
Fantastic. I look forward to meet you and your team. And when we are on site with a camera, we can also show some of the things that we are talking about today. So I want to thank you very much, Jens, for your time. I know that's we've been a little bit on off to get the timing right, and now we're here. And it was super great talking to you. And I look forward to see you in Nürtingen on June the 2nd. So no, 3rd. So all the best until then, and for all of you watching this space, you should go to IST UV Days and sign up for this. I am sure you would have a blast of an event. It's a learning experience, but it's also meeting friends, and they also have a nice little beer garden. So, I mean, there's at least 3 good reasons to come there, right? So, Jens, thank you very much.
Thank you, Morten. Thank you very much.